Hello, my name is Darian Hears, and today I will be doing a report on the disaster management in the country of Cambodia. Here's a little picture of me just so you have an idea of who's talking to you. So here's a little background and history on the country of Cambodia. It is a small country located in Southeast Asia. It has been reported to be about the size of Oklahoma. It has a population of about 16.9 million people. In 1953, it gained its independence from France. After gaining its independence from France, it suffered a long period of civil conflict and political tension. In the 70s, communist leaders seized control and began to rule over the country, having disastrous effects. This caused the Vietnamese government to step in and overthrow the communist leaders. The Vietnamese occupied Cambodia for about 10 years, allowing a more stable government to form and fair democratic elections to be reestablished. However, Cambodia continues to be a very impoverished country, with a majority of its citizens living in rural areas. Most of its economic revenue is based on agriculture. Unfortunately, Cambodia is plagued by a multitude of natural disasters. It is ranked as the eighth most country prone to natural disasters. Some of these disasters include floods, droughts, monsoons, typhoons, and cyclones. Two of the most prominent are floods and droughts, which can be seen in the two pictures below. Due to the major political instability and poor economy, Cambodia was slow to start implementing disaster management plans. Often these plans were unorganized and confusing, rarely being formed to comply with HFA guidelines. It wasn't until 2015, when the disaster management law was passed, that the roles and procedures during emergency situations were clearly defined. This law also outlined official goals the country had for its disaster management. The disaster management layout of Cambodia can be classified as bottom-up. The subnational committees first reacts to an emergency situation and compiles a report for the National Committee for Disaster Management. Based on this report and the needs defined by the subnational committee, the NCDM will decide how best to respond. Some key players that are involved in Cambodia's disaster management are, first and foremost, the National Committee for Disaster Management. Some other organizations that are also involved are international and national non-governmental organizations, or NGOs. Some of these include Save the Children, CARE, Kampuchea, Women's Welfare Action, and Rural Aid Organization. Some international humanitarian organizations that are involved are the United Nations and the United States Agency for International Development. Others involved are the Cambodian Red Cross and Royal Cambodian Armed Forces. The Royal Cambodian Armed Forces are charged with reacting in a timely manner to emergency situations. Some potential obstacles for Cambodia's disaster management are firstly, climate change. Climate change effects like global warming and rising sea levels are a major threat to Cambodia's already fragile ecosystem. Cambodia's major deforestation actions are only exacerbating these effects. Natural disasters may be even more prevalent in Cambodia if this situation is not addressed. Women's treatment in Cambodia is also a potential threat to its disaster management. If women were treated fairly in regard to the workplace and education, economic growth would rise even more. If women were also able to pursue STEM careers, more innovations in disaster management could be prevalent. Some historical natural disasters that have affected Cambodia's disaster management are 6 major droughts that occurred between 1987 and 2017. These droughts affected around 8.5 million people. The United Nations Development Program is currently working to develop indicators to signal when water levels are leading to a drought. In addition to this particular early warning system, the Cambodian government and those involved in its disaster management are working hard to develop early warning systems for other types of natural disasters. They're also working to formulate ways in which to reach all of its citizens, no matter how rural the environment they may live. Here are a list of references that I used during my report. This concludes my presentation. Thank you all for watching.